Hi guys, how are we doing? Phil Kent here, and just continuing my own challenge of the OLSP 50-day challenge. If you don't know what I'm doing about, I set myself a challenge a few days ago now. I think we were on day 31 already, or something like that. I almost start to lose count. And one of the things that I decided to do on my challenge was to do a Facebook Live every day. And so here we are on day 31 of the challenge. Just bringing me phone into play as well. Those who watch me on a regular basis will know that's what I do. It's just because the program that I'm using to stream the lives with, that is basically just running a little bit behind or whatever on the Facebook feed. So putting that on as well enables me to keep in touch. There we go. That's the boring stuff out of the way. So on the lives, sometimes we have ills with her. She's not going to be here again today. She's got a few issues going on. So we just carry on my own. I'm used to doing them on my own. I did a 100-day challenge a few years back, and that was on my own every single time. People are welcome to jump on if they turn up and things like that. Otherwise, I just rattle on regardless. Not to worry. The subjects I try and pick a different subject every day. I try and show something or talk about something. Maybe it's on a post. Maybe it's in regards to a DM that I've had or something like that, or whatever it may be that comes into light. And yesterday I showed over using sort of Chat GPT, and I got some good feedback from it by all accounts as well, especially a few after the live messaging me, and we had Leslie on as well, on commenting and asking a bit more information. It's one of these things as a marketer that's a must-use tool. It makes your life a little bit easier. And one of the things that I covered on when I was talking about it and showing it was the email sequences. Now, that prompted a few more questions and a couple more DMs in the way that people are asking me. One of my team members come forward once again and asked me about email follow-ups and sequences and all the rest of it. And what I do now, for those of you who don't know, I've been online on and off over the years, so about 15 years on and off, something like that. I did take a step back for a few years and only came back just recently, sort of 3 or 4 months back tops. And I came initially into a different program which just wasn't working out for various reasons. And then after that, I was introduced to OLSP, and that's sort of been doing really well. So it also proved the point that, yes, I've had the experience before, I've had the knowledge before, but on the sort of presence and stuff like that front, because I stepped away for a few years, I'd stopped everything. My social media had gone back down to zero. My email list was non-existent anymore because I shut everything down. I stepped completely away from it. So when I did come back, I said earlier this year, I came back from nothing. Literally, I had to start all over again. I had to try and rebuild my Facebook, which is half the reason I'm doing the lives, actually rebuild the engagement and things like that. I had to start all over again from scratch by starting to build an email list using just organic traffic and things like that, which obviously is a little bit slower. And so just sort of go back to basics. But, because I had the knowledge there, that was the only difference that did help me. Things did get moving a little bit quicker, purely because I had the experience and knowledge beforehand. But it also goes to show you that, you can build things up from nothing. Some people think you've got to have a massive social media presence. You've got to have a huge following. You've got to have, a massive email list. Obviously, all these things do make life easier further down the road. But you can, as long as you come in with the right knowledge, the right approach, the right mindset, and the training and tools, etc., and have the right program to run with, once all these boxes are ticked, then it makes life a little bit easier, to say the least. So that's where I came in. That's where I started again. So getting back to what I'm going to touch on today is email follow-ups. Because a few people have asked, what do I do? Because I showed on ChatGPT video yesterday how you can create an email sequence like from scratch. That will give you, an email sequence for you. Then you can edit it into your own words and things like that. And what to do with these emails that come in. Now, since being part of OLSP, I've learned a ton more from the master himself, Mr. Wayne Crowe, the owner of the program. Stuff that I didn't really know about email marketing side of things, and this is someone who's clearly an expert in this field. So when you get that one with that sort of expertise, you sort of take on the knowledge and take on the lessons that he's giving you. And I've managed to transfer that into my email list now, and I'm sort of relaying this, what I'm doing, to the team members I speak to, because you've got to sort of work with your emails, because initially if you buy any traffic, or you get a surge of traffic, especially if you come in and get some cold traffic, which is a lot of people will be doing. They might buy some cheap traffic off somewhere like Udemy or Solo Seller, or they might get some premium traffic or whatever. But at that early stage, it is purely cold traffic, and most of this traffic that's coming in are sort of what we know as the BizOps seekers. They're looking for the big solution, the magic button or whatever. And so they'll open the first few emails if you're lucky. Normally they'll just opt in to see what the offer is on the other side, because they're opting in so many times a day probably, and so many times a week, just looking for something that stands out to them. They just bounce around looking for things, but you'll always get a portion of these people that will actually start opening your emails and looking for them and coming out, and then you get the click rates and all that. If you don't know anything about it, it's inside the autoresponder. You can see how many have opened, what the click rates are, and what you need to be doing once you get in this percentage, because it's normally a small percentage. A lot of people are locked in, like I say. They might not even read the welcome email. They're not really looking out for that welcome email. They're just interested in what's on the other side of that opt-in box, what's on the other side of that squeeze page. What's this? Is there going to be a great magic program that's going to make them these riches? It's going to make them 10 grand by the next week. And that's what they're looking for. And if it doesn't happen, then they'll look for something else, and they'll opt into somewhere else. And that's when you get a lot of bounces, what's known as bounce emails, because they'll put in bogus emails just to get to the other side and things like that. But once you've gone through that sort of wave of almost garbage, if you like, you're going to get people that are opening their emails, are clicking on the link occasionally and things like that. Now, these are the ones that you want to monitor, and especially inside what the Get Response, what we're using inside OLSP, because it gives you quite a good score of what they're doing. It will score them whether they're engaged or not engaged and all the rest of it. And if you get somebody after an initial period is still opening the emails and following up and all the rest of it, then these are the people that you want to be moving to a separate list. Is definitely what I do, because eventually, otherwise, if you're just keeping sending them, say, back to your squeeze page or back to a program, back to an offer, eventually what will happen is they'll stop opening the emails. Okay, and these email leads will just go cold and they'll dry up, and they'll just either unsubscribe or they just ignore your emails coming in. So in that early period, monitor your email list all the time and move them to a separate list is what I do first of all. So you can move them to a warmer list and maybe have a different follow-up series and things like that, trying to sort of engage with them a bit more. And then again, it's a similar process, because you don't want to be harvesting these emails, if you like, and just be an email storage facility, because especially with a lot of the email providers like the autoresponder providers like, say, Get Response and Aweber and all the rest of it, most of them go up in price dependent on how many email subscribers that you have. So you don't want to be paying extra on a monthly basis for subscribers that just are not opening your email. What's the point? You're paying to have these email subscribers sitting there. So it's far better to have, say, 100 or so, or 200, whatever it may be, active subscribers that are actively opening your emails and things like that, rather than have, say, 2,000 plus in there where hardly any of them are opening your emails. They're certainly not clicking through any links and things like that. And the way to do that is by moving them into a separate list, which is exactly what I do, is what I've been teaching a couple of my team members. So once they've been in there for a short time, you'll see the ones that have never opened an email, because you can see them all by the on what's going on inside Get Response. So those ones will just go cold, and what's the point of them being there? So eventually you just get rid of them and remove them completely from your Get Response autoresponder. That's what I do. So once you move them to a separate list, you move them to a warmer list, then you can start sending them different emails and see what they're responding to, and you can find out like that way. And then I'll have a third list eventually where these people are constantly and engaging with you in the fact that they're opening emails, they're clicking on some links and things like that. And then you can start to say, well, this is your warm list. This is your, these are the ones you're going to work with, because they are clearly looking for something. It may not always be your current program of choice. It may just be something else. Some of them are just afraid to do anything, probably because they lost money before, been scammed before, and things like that. So that a lot of them are sort of afraid to move forward. They're afraid to pay something else because they've lost so much money in the past of poor scams, poor programs. So what you need to be doing is getting on video and things like that, engaging with them on a regular basis. And then once you got them in, say, into the second or the third list, just start writing them emails. And because they're more than likely going to be opening them because of the way you've been moving the list around. So then you could just say, give them some recommendations. Maybe a good site, maybe how to use Canva or something like that. Maybe a little bit about YouTube, maybe a little bit about short videos, whatever it may be. So start sending them some information. If you're good at getting on camera, then make a video about, hey, look, this is how I use Canva. This is how I make a short video content. This is what I do there. It's no link involved, just you showing them something, because what you're then doing in this process, you are building up what's known in the industry as the know, like, and trust factor, and that's where you need to be heading. Okay, because then you can start talking more about the program that you're involved with and things like that. I said because there's so many people have been scammed, so many people have lost money, so many people don't want to pay for anything else, so many people are seeing crap that doesn't work. And the way to get through to this is to start engaging with these people and moving them around lists. Because I see so many people, when I speak to people about email follow-ups, I say, have you moved any of your lists before? Or have you done this? And all they go, oh no, my open rate's quite low. No one's clicking on me stuff. No one's clicking on me links. No one's opening. And they're just not doing anything about it. But, you've got to go through your autoresponder days on a regular basis, because that's how you do it. I'm not going to show you inside GetResponse because obviously it's going to expose too many of the emails. I can show other people that I work directly with, because I can show them on their own autoresponder and things like that. And obviously I can't do it when I'm doing live. It would just expose people's email address. But there's ways you can either tick them, or you can go onto the dots at the end of the email list, and you can select to move them. And that's always what I do. I'll start moving them to sort of list number 2, if you like, and create a separate list, because this is the list that's opening your emails. These are the ones that are clicking on the certain. They're not going to click on every one, but you monitor what are they looking at, what they're opening. They're opening most of them. They're clicking on 1 or 2. If they're clicking on 1 or 2, what emails are they clicking on? Have a look at the email that you sent out and make the subject lines. See what they're actually interested in. That's going to start giving you an idea of where these emails are at. And then I said eventually move them to a third list. That's another thing I recommend doing, because then you've got these leads that are opening just about a very high percentage of your emails. You're going to get really good open rates because you've separated all these people. And then the cold list, the one when it goes colder, because a lot of people, like I said, they'll just put their email in once. They're not even looking out for a follow-up email from yourself. They just want to see what's on the other side. And I know a lot of programmers and that will teach the double opt-in, which basically means they've got to sort of opt in first. They're not going to see what's on the other side until they go to their email inbox and confirm it with a link. Now, yes, you can filter out a lot of subscribers that way. Yes, you can possibly get better leads sometimes. But also you can lose some potential subscribers, because people these days are lazy. They can't be bothered to do that. They can't be bothered to go to their email inbox, find the email that you've apparently just sent them, and then open that email and look for it and click the link to see the offer on the other side. People can't be bothered to do that. So you've got to try and make the process a little bit easier for them. And then it's just a case of balancing it up. And just read the open rates. It's part of what we do. It's part of the business that we run, and then move them over. And if they're cold leads eventually dry up, and I say to people, if they've gone sort of a good sort of month or 2, possibly 2 months, and you look down them and get response would have one bar or something next to them and just say completely unengaged, they've not opened a single email, then what's the point of them sitting there? You know, they're clearly just that BizOps seeker that have come in, dropped an email in, they're not going to bother checking, they're not going to bother reading it, you know, they're never going to open anything, because otherwise they'd at least opened up the follow-up email, and they haven't even done that. So what's the point? And then eventually, you know, so that they stay that cold and never open anything, and you've sent a sort of follow-up sequence, sort of 1-2 a day for the next sort of 3 weeks or more, and they haven't opened a single email, then remove them from your Get Response account or wherever you are, because what's the point in them being there? You want to be working with and messaging with and dealing with these subscribers that are doing something, that are taking an interest in the emails that you're sending out. And you'll see the difference, because eventually you're going to build up these lists where you've got a good open rate and an even better open rate. So then if you get them into sort of a third list or something like that, you can send them some sort of value emails. You can send them some direct emails. You can say, this is just for you, and stuff like that. You can send them, say, a newsletter, as it's called, or a broadcast that is called in some other autoresponders. And you're going to send it just to this select list. And you know for a fact that your open rate is going to be extremely high. It's going to be in sort of 30%, 40% upwards, which, as anybody would tell you, in email land, if that's the right phrase, it's going to tell you that these people are engaging, and that's what you're going to see. I can guarantee it, because I've seen it myself already in these early stages of me being back. I've started to develop my third list, and I can send a newsletter out now, and my engagement, my open rate is insane. It's 30%, 40% or more for one newsletter. You don't get that if you just send a blast out to your list. You just don't. So you can have this targeted extra list or whatever, this warmer list where you can send stuff to, and that a high percentage of these are going to open these emails, and that's what you want. These are the people you want to be connecting with. Maybe start to get them to come forward, maybe to get them to sort of connect with you a bit more, maybe encourage them to connect with you on Facebook or something if they don't want to get on a call or anything like that. Just encourage them to hit reply to the email and just say hello and all this to it, because this is what happens with people. They've seen so much crap. I've had good online friends of mine that are quite knowledgeable in the industry, and they've lost thousands, literally thousands, some of them in the countless thousands, because they've been drawn into these programs with the big promises and all the rest of it, and they've plowed their money in. And it's not just online friends of mine. This is people we come across on a daily basis. You'll speak to people and they say, oh, I'll put, $3,000 into this, $4,000 into this, $6,500 into that. These are conversations I've had recently, where they've plowed their money in, expecting this sort of windfall of a return because they've seen the guy on YouTube, or they've seen this flashy sales funnel where they put their email address in that just makes it look so easy. All they've got to do is connect this, connect that, connect this, and sit back and watch the money come in. Well, come on. If it was that easy, we'd all be doing it. It takes more than that. And the only people making the money are the ones that are putting together these funnels and these videos and all the rest of it, because that's what they do. So you need to be wary of that when you're sending the emails out, because people have naturally got a defense up. They've tried things that haven't apparently worked. They've put money into stuff before, they've lost out, they've struggled to earn anything, and a lot of time they've been given sort of poor information, poor training inside programs. That's another big one, because what most of them tell you to do is just join the program, pay X amount, then all you've got to do is grab your affiliate link, post it on Facebook, post it in a couple of money groups, post it in traffic exchanges, and sit back and watch the money come in. This is what they're told. This is what these programs teach. It doesn't work like that. It just does not work like that. Like I said, and unfortunately, these people do get sucked in. So when you start connecting with people and giving them value in your emails, and you start moving the people around, that's the best way to do it. Look at the open rates inside. I said I would share my screen, but I'm not going to share my screen inside of Get Response because it exposed too many emails, and I can't blur it out when I'm doing it live. It's different if I record a video. So then, and you just go, you move them to the list. These are the people that are, that are engaged or highly engaged, as they class them inside Get Response. Move them into a separate list. Start putting them into a different follow-up email series where maybe you talk a bit more about the program, maybe put some value emails mixed in, and again monitor them, see if they're still opening stuff. And most of them will still continue to opening. And if they're still opening stuff where you're still maybe talking about your program, sending a bit of value, then you know that these people are still, they're basically looking for something. Might not be your program of choice, but they're needing to say maybe earn some money online. They're needing to create a side hustle, all the rest of it. And these are your sort of golden leads, and then you move them again. That's what I would do. So you end up, the idea is to end up with a very sort of hot list of subscribers that are opening your emails, most of the time, a high percentage of the time. Because like I said, then you can send a blast out or whatever, and these are going to, your open rates are going to be insane. Speak to anybody in the industry if they ask you, if you send a broadcast or newsletter out to your email list, or just on a general sort of sequence, ask them what their open rate is. It's going to be low. It's going to be low percentage, because that's just the industry norm as it's known. So when you come back and say to them, well, I've got my list that I've filtered through, and I've got my sort of separate list for these ones that I know engage, and my open rates are 40% plus, they're going to be astounded. And if you speak to anybody that knows by these figures, because it's just not normal, but you've done that by monitoring your email follow-ups and putting them in separate lists. And that's what you need to be doing. Now, a lot of this stuff, some of the basics I knew, a lot more of it I've learned from being inside our OLSP, listening to Wayne Crow, the owner, because he's basically an email master. And the training inside of OLSP is just some of the best training I've seen. It's an affiliate marketing based program, obviously, but it covers everything. It covers email marketing in a massive way, because that's principal to so much of what people do online. They can, you can be in a great program, you can be part of a great program, you can be all the rest of it, but you still, if you're going to succeed in anything, you've got to have the fundamentals in place. You've got to know about squeeze pages, you've got to know how to build an email list and get eyeballs on an offer, because it doesn't matter what it is. You could be in the best program or whatever in the world, but if nobody gets to see it, then you're not going to make any money. It's strange but true. So that's the sort of what I wanted to touch on, the email follow-ups, because I've had one of my dominators inside the program been asking me quite a bit about follow-ups and what I do. So I've told him what I've been doing, and then I've obviously told him the extra stuff that we've been learning from inside the program, and it's working. Like I said, I've come back and I've started from scratch. I had 0 email lists, 0 Facebook engagement, anything like that. I've started from scratch, from realistically properly when I come over to OLSP, and most of mine is organic traffic coming in from various lead sources that you generate, because I certainly can't afford to be buying traffic every week. Some people can, but the process is the same. You can just get the traffic coming through and filter through your leads, and then start. Don't always be trying to sell them in an email. That's another important one. Once you get to this warmer list and you're moving them into this separate list, send them some value out. Everybody knows how to do something. Everybody's got knowledge of something online. Whether they, unless you're completely brand new, then you just send them some value. Maybe pick up a free ebook. Then you've got to search for some free PLR sites, as they're known, and grab yourself a couple of sort of free ebooks and just send it to them with no option or nothing. Just put it in your email and say, hey, look, I'll come across this free ebook. It looks pretty good, and go grab it here. Give away stuff, give away information, give away recommended sites that you maybe have come across, and things like that. All these sort of things are useful. Just got one of my VIP members on. Greetings, Coach Phil, as he always calls me. Hi, James, how you doing? Nice you to join us. I see one of your messages come through, but I was already on here, so I haven't been able to sort of get that. I know you're doing well. I've been getting feedback from the other VIPers that you've started to show up a bit more, and James is a great example. He's learning the ropes slowly. He's taking things on board. He's now doing live videos. He's turning up is getting himself on camera, and getting himself on camera is massive. He didn't realize how powerful it was when he first started doing it. But you're building that know, like, and trust factor, building that brand, getting people to see you, because the trust factor is huge. It goes back again to what I was talking about so many people have lost money, being scammed, and all the rest of it. And the only way you're going to build that rapport with them if they get to see you and they know that you're okay, and they know they can trust you. As James just added, I'm building my brand. Yes, that's what it's all about. Everybody's got their own unique brand. James is now getting on camera every day, or a lot, should we say. Most days he's showing his face, he's doing posts, he's talking about himself, and this is all it takes. You don't have to be sitting there trying to sell and pitching and selling all the time. It's about branding yourself, providing value, getting people to sort of know you and like you and trust you. And these are the people that are they're gonna join your business. It's as simple as that. Because once they trust you, it's 90% of the job done. I know this guy. I've seen him on his Facebook. I've seen him on videos. He's done a couple of Facebook lives. They get to see your face, and people will follow you. I've touched on this before. People will follow you and watch your stuff for weeks, months, even sometimes. This is just what people do on social media. They'll never like or comment or engage on stuff that you're doing, but they're watching you. They're watching your story, watching your journey, because they're waiting until they're building that trust level themselves. And it is all down to the fact that there's so many poor programmers around, so many scams online, and so much more. People are wary. So, don't expect people just to jump in straight away because they've seen so much garbage online. They've lost money in things. I mean, I said, since I come back, I've only been back sort of 2 or 3 months or so. And I've had quite a few conversations in Facebook DMs and that, and the amount of people already have told me they've lost a ton of money. We're not just talking $50 here and $100 here. We're talking in the high hundreds and thousands that people have put money into programs and lost it. Either being scammed or they've been put into something that just hasn't worked. And it's crazy. It's crazy the amount of money that people have plowed into programs that they've seen, these flashy sales funnels or whatever it may be. So they're going to be wary, and you need to remember that. And people are going to be wary. And if you come across as just trying to get someone to join immediately, the defenses are going to go up, because that's not the way it is. It's a case of building relationships with people, because people join people, always have done. And you want to work with the better people. You don't want just the freebie seekers or the biz up seekers on your teams, because they're not going to last. They're just going to go and do something else. That's what they're going to do. So you want the people sort of like James that I came across, and like other people on my team, and the ones that need the industry to work, they need the business to work. They're going to put their head down and get to work and do what it takes and stick around and make sure that they put everything they can into it to make it work. These are the people that you want to be working with. It's better to have sort of 10, 20 of those than 200 people that are just do nothing and time waste and jump around. Be selective about who you work with. And the way you do that, is by building your own brand, putting yourself out there, putting content out there, engaging with subscribers, moving them to different lists, connecting with them differently, and then it goes from there. It's a building process, and you've got to put that work in, because people are just too quick to sort of build an email list and fill it up with tons of subscribers, maybe buying garbage traffic or whatever. You're not going to get the right people. And you want to be filtering in people through organic methods that are opting into the stuff that you've seen, connecting with them, moving them from list to a separate list, like I said. Build up that trust factor. And you want to be sending emails out that are getting opened, because what's the point of sending emails when you know that your open rate is below 1%, or it's only like 5% or whatever? What's the point in that? On my warmer lists, especially the one I've just started to now create my third list, it's insanely high. It's 30-40% or more at least if I send a blast out. There's only a few in that list, but you don't get open rates like that unless you're moving the people around. Monitor what they're doing. and it grows from there. It's a building process. There's no quick fix online. Some people want the results without putting in the work. They expect the results to happen next week. It's not going to happen. You've got to treat it like a business, and everybody learns and earns at different speeds. That's another thing what it's all about. So treat it like a business and build it up. And your email marketing is just one small portion of it. And that's the way to do it. Build up your email series, monitor the open rates, move them to a separate list when they start opening more. And when we're clicking on a few emails, you can then have a separate list for those. And then I, again, look eventually to start building that third list where they're opening nearly every email. They're clicking on not all of them, but quite a few of them. These are engaged subscribers. These are ones you want to keep on your list. You don't want to have them keep having sort of cold traffic offers sent to them or your latest biz up, because they're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. It's not the traffic that you want. You want to build a sort of network of like-minded individuals, people that are going to stick around and trust you. Because once you've got that trust factor and they start connecting with you and start joining with you in what you're doing, they're going to stick around. I can guarantee it, because you've built up that level of trust, and they'd rather stick with you because they trust you and believe in what you're doing and what you're showing them, rather than jump onto the next program that looks great or the next funnel and lose a ton of money again, and then do the same again and lose another ton of money. There's never any guarantees, but if you can build that trust factor where they're going to trust what you're saying and trust what you're recommending, it changes everything. And then they can see what you're doing and then build that relationship, and then you just sort of teach them what you're doing, and it's a rinse and repeat. It's a process, guys. It's a process, guys. And some people pick it up really quickly. Some people like myself might have come back and got some previous knowledge or whatever. Other people, they could be new to the industry. They'll take the time learning it. Like James came in quite brand new, but he's learning, and he's picking up. He's not afraid to ask questions, which is another big one. Come forward and ask if you're stuck, because that's what people are here for. And these are the sort of people that you want to be working with. There's no good, if you can't, because a lot of people out there you're just a number. They'll get you in, and they don't care if they never speak to you again. You've come in, you've joined, they've got their commission, and that's it. And you won't see or hear from them again. You don't want to be working with people like that. You want people that like yourself, that you're going to come in, they reach out to you, you're going to message them back always, that they know they can contact you, they're going to get answers. It's all these little things, these are all massive pieces of the puzzle that come together, and then people will come to you, and that's what you want. You don't want to be hunting around trying to find people to join all the time. You want people to come to you. It's called attraction marketing, and you do that by branding yourself and giving out value, working with people. People will see what you're doing, they'll come to you. That's how it works. It's a process, but just expect it to take time to build, but keep doing what you're doing, stay consistent, the results will come in. So there we go. I've gone just over half an hour. So I know it was not going to be around for 2 or 3 days, but that's okay. I can show you stuff. I couldn't show what I was talking about inside the emails because it would expose too many email addresses. I can do it when I record a video because I can blur it out afterwards by editing. But if you're doing that, guys, that's what you need. First thing you need to be doing, get your email series in place and monitor the open rates and move them into separate lists. And so you eventually want to be building a large list or a list of people that are engaging with you, are opening your stuff. That's what you want. So I hope that helps people. I've had a few people watching. I know a lot of people catch the lives back. This is just the sort of best time for me to do my lives, 2 p.m. UK time. I'm in the middle of my 50-day challenge. It will probably continue after that because people are now getting used to what I do and they're used to the time that I'm here. So I hope you found some value. Drop any messages. Reach out to me on in a DM if you need to. If you're interested in what we're doing, if you're interested in getting on board, then by all means contact me and we can chat about what you're doing, where you're up to, and get you started in the program because it's a very good program. And that's another thing you need to be looking out for. Connect with the right people and the right programs, and that's half your job done. So whatever you're doing, have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next live, which will, of course, be tomorrow, 2 p.m. UK time. Thanks a lot, and bye now.